Welcome to Syntax, live from, where are we? San Francisco, live from New York. We are not live at all. We're recording here at GitHub Universe 2025. We were here last year, which was pretty interesting, and it's nuts to see. Like last year, we were talking about like better Copilot, like tab completion and stuff like that, and now it's just like agents and all this stuff CJ hates. So we're gonna go through a couple things here. We're gonna kind of rattle through all the announcements that they have and talk about that as to like, are they catching up to Cursor and all these things, and what is the interesting stuff and how does it all work together. We're gonna talk about our badges, which is really cool. I think possibly maybe even more interesting to some of the audience. And yeah, it was good. We had a meetup last night. Thanks to everybody who came
really
out.
fun.
That was a hoot, eh?
Good time. Yeah, it's great. Everybody, man, we had a big turnout last year for the meetup.
Yeah.
And it was just like a great mix of the types of folks from all different companies and working on different problems, fans of the show. And this year was just even better. We had a massive table of free stuff. We had security guards and police officers coming up and being like, "Can I get some of this stuff?"
Yeah, we had like a
check X for that
San
post.
Francisco cop driving around the city with our hat on.
Yeah, so our internet
hat on. Yeah, props to everyone who came out. That was always really fun having meetups and getting to chat with people, because you get to hear the type of stuff people are working on, the problems that they're hitting, what they're learning. You don't necessarily hear that stuff every single day. We try to solicit it as much as we can, but just talking one-on-one with people, and also like
all night long, talking one-on-one.
There's a lot of devs who came from companies that are not allowed to talk about stuff that they work on. And like they gave us the scoop on some of that stuff, and it's always really interesting getting to hear from these like huge companies that use this tech, but they're not allowed to talk about it.
Huge companies that we cannot name.
Yeah.
But,
just fruit companies and stuff like that. Oh, man.
Yes. It was great. So shout out to everybody who showed up to that. And then we also had a big Syntax team meeting. We got the whole team here from all over the globe. We are a global team now. We have a
Canadian podcast with with a global team. You know, you always see the stuff like Made in America with international components. Like, this is a Canadian podcast with international help.
I think only a very small percentage of the team is in Canada now. I don't know if we can continue to say that, but
doesn't matter.
You would just declare it if you'd like.
It's like a grassroots. It began in Canada mostly.
Just as much as the team lives in Colorado.
Yeah.
So, I will say this is a Coloradan podcast.
Yeah. I'm here too, by the way. Hello.
Yes. CJ, what's up?
CJ is joining us in the booth at GitHub U.
As our resident AI hater.
Yeah. And I'm going into this blind, so I did not watch the keynote. I'm just going to be live reacting to what these guys tell me, and I'll give you the real feedback about it, I guess. I don't know.
So, Wes and I will give you the Microsoft shill take, and then CJ gives you the real take.
Leave your comments right now.
Yeah.
We hear you. We're shills and everything like that. No, we're not. This is not an ad. Not getting paid for any of this. We're simply just checking it out and reporting what's going on, because we know a lot of you guys use these tools.
Speaking of shilling, these GitHub badges are really sick.
Yeah, it's the coolest part of this conference. Honestly.
Last year the badge had an e-ink screen, and you could hack it to put whatever you want.
Yeah.
This year, it's a different level. I don't know. I'll have to post pictures of this. I made a GoldenEye 64 logo for Syntax and put it on here, but there is a Flappy Bird, there is an Etch-a-Sketch, there is a Tamagotchi. There's a whole ass screen.
There's a Tamagotchi?
I don't know. So last year it was made by Raspberry Pi, but it was technically like an Arduino. And I believe that is the same this year, but it also has a Wi-Fi chip in it. So it basically, the whole badge is a printed circuit board that has a Wi-Fi chip in it. It's got a LiPo 3.7 volt battery, USB-C to plug in, and then the whole thing is running MicroPython, which is like you code these apps in Python. You can run any code you want on it, but the sort of the framework for building apps on this thing is preloaded, so you write them with MicroPython. And absolutely wild that it's a printed circuit board.
This is a badge.
To work on it.
Yes, we're not clear. This is a conference badge. You know, the thing that's normally just some little plastic thing hanging. My kids are going to go absolutely nuts playing Flappy Bird on this
I got
thing.
an Etch-a-Sketch running on it, and as soon as I can, I'm going to hook it up to the Syntax API and like pull the latest episode or something like that, because now that it literally has Wi-Fi on it. Like previously, it was e-ink, so you had to hook a battery up, and then once the e-ink was set, you can unplug it, and it will just stay that way for forever. But this is an actual full color display.
Brought in my GitHub contributions and all
wow.
that stuff.
Oh, you got it hooked up.
Yeah, so
yeah.
I haven't hooked mine up yet. Like to connect it to the Wi-Fi, you actually have to connect it to your computer and you modify a config file? Is that what it was? Or?
Yeah, you modify a config file, and then I actually was messing with the gallery, and I was trying to install some other images. I had this really wonderful photo of Wes with his long hair that I was trying to get on my badge, but it kept crashing the memory on it for some reason.
Oh, wow.
I think it's this photo specifically.
It's Wes's face.
The badge was just like, I can't let you do that.
It's good. And so I actually bricked mine, not crashed it. I bricked it.
You had to reflash the firmware? Or?
Well, what had happened is that like I uploaded the Wi-Fi credentials and it wasn't working. So I was just like holding down random combinations of buttons, and I like totally bricked the thing to a point where it started running in like a bootloader mode. And like a bootloader mode on these things is where you can change like the lower level software that it runs on. And I did something. So luckily they took it back and gave me another one.
Oh, nice.
Because I goofed it up pretty far.
Can we just appreciate that out of all the types of people who would end up bricking their badge, Wes managed to probably be the first person, which is so endlessly predictable.
And I told the folks from GitHub, and they're like, good. Like,
yeah,
it's hacker mentality, you know? Dip into it.
We're happy that you bricked your badge.
Yeah.
We're very happy about that, yeah.
So pretty fun. Maybe we are due for another. We did an episode on like electronics and microcontrollers maybe like a year and a half ago, but now that we have like this little thing, I think there's an appetite for something else.
I had a great time on this last night. In fact, I didn't even go to bed because I was up in the Python for this last night.
Because you guys got yours early, so you've been able to hack on it a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So tonight CJ will stay up
Exactly.
year round
That's my night.
and be able to do
Yes.
it.
Yeah. Cool. Do we want to get into the keynote now and talk a little bit about some of the announcements?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the keynote at these things, as you can imagine, is always, we're at GitHub Universe. So at GitHub Universe, you can imagine a keynote's going to be fancy new features in GitHub. There's also quite a bit about VS Code, as there was last year. Like last year during the keynote, it was a lot of VS Code is starting to compete with Cursor, are we even allowed to talk about Cursor kind of situation, right? Where this year, it was definitely a big message was features that exist already that are now being way more useful. So there's a new center, mission control center for agents within GitHub, where basically you are able to control and send agents off working on problems within GitHub in a more organized manner. So you could assign things, even last year or half a year ago, whatever. You could have a PR, you could assign it to Copilot. Copilot could go off and work on it. It could do it in the background, and then it would come back with answers. But now with this new mission control, it's a lot more integrated where you can send a cloud agent to go and work on it. That cloud agent can start to work on it. If you want to pick it up yourself, you can then have it open directly in your editor, continue working on it. You can use other agents in there. You can use Claude Code. You can assign things now to Claude Code. You could assign things to Codex rather than just assigning it to only Copilot. How are we feeling about that? Have you guys used assigning issues to
slightly. I've done it in
Copilot.
In a GitHub issue. You can say hey Copilot, check this out, and then it goes off, and there's a link that will pull up the in-browser editor showing you what it's doing. So I've done that a couple of times.
I think the big thing that they're fixing here is that it just felt clunky previously. So if you want to kick off an agent to build a task, you have like a couple options, right? You can use Cloud Code on your computer. You can throw Cloud Code like on a VM, but then it doesn't have access to all of your things. You can kick it off on github.com, but then like I found in that workflow, it's like, well, it didn't really do what I wanted. And now I have to like sit here and wait for it and then go back and type on what I wanted. And it's like, well, now I want to edit some of the code. So like now I got to like check that out. And like now it seems like the flow of this seems to be a lot easier, where like the blur between it actually happening on GitHub and happening in your editor is a lot better. So all of these agents run in GitHub Actions, and GitHub Actions can run in your own infrastructure, that's huge.
Yeah.
For people, they want to bring their own infrastructure. You don't want to either necessarily pay for that, or there's like security concerns. You can't run your own code on somebody else's servers for whatever reason.
To me, that seems like kind of just like the biggest feature here is now you have a place to run your agents. You don't have to like set up a server. You don't have to like configure things manually.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like a nice point and click way of having your agents running in the cloud in the background.
I think the biggest thing here was the fact that you can bring Cloud Code, you can bring Codex, you can you bring your own agent, because like I was watching this keynote and I was like, this is awesome, but like what if we don't want to use the GitHub flavor of everything? You know, is it going to be their own thing? GitHub is just like, you do what you want. Like GitHub is where we have all of our software, all of our actions. It's where we build everything. And when it comes to all this agentic stuff and it's either like bolted on the side, you know, via some like plugin, but like, no, this is like first class support for
all
of the other ones. And one thing they teased was that you can now, if you have like a GitHub Copilot subscription, you can just log in to Codex, which is OpenAI's coding agent, and like it just comes with your subscription to have access to. I don't know what the like gotchas are on that yet, but that's pretty sick.
And I'm curious about that because I've had a Copilot subscription because I am a GitHub star. I get access to the Copilot stuff.
My gosh,
yes,
freaking royalty over here.
Yes, I
pay for it with my own money.
I know it, and that is why I got this side of the podcast booth all to myself, because they said the star needs.
He's a star.
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Can we pause a second there? Like quick poll. How many of you got to meet Satya Nadella today? CJ?
I did not.
No,
I didn't.
Not
okay.
know either. Yes.
Me? Oh yeah, actually, I got to hang out with. We'll put the thing over top of the thing, but
wow,
I gotta. So Microsoft will email us with these like guests. They have like a PR company, and they'll email us with these guests where we're just like, no, we're not having like your like C-suite whatever like on here to bullshit about X, Y, and Z. Like that's not interesting for the people, the actual developers who write code that are listening to this type of thing. So they're like, who can we get? I was like, how about Satya? And they're like, we're working on it. And I was like, right. And then I got like a weird message last night being like, hey, come to 10 a.m., come to this location.
Yeah, come to the pier.
And we can't. And then Satya comes in and just pops out. And man, that was really cool to meet him. I gave him an internet hat, which you can get in our swag store. And it was a cool experience.
That's the West mode, though. Anytime they're like, can so-and-so come on? And it's like, how about Zuck? Can we get Zuck? like what's this always asking for?
My goal is I want to get Zuck, but like only ask him about like coding.
I
don't give a shit about like whatever.
What are your
you're
actual
on
thoughts
right
about
now.
React.js?
Yeah.
How do you feel about Next.js?
Or just like so Satya was talking about how like he used to be a developer and now he still understands development, but it's how you develop is much different than Handy did a long time ago. I was like, can we get him on a CSS battle?
Oh,
you know,
wow,
he vibe off. Satya can vibe with the Copilot. Me and Scott will do and CJ will do no AI, and we'll go head to head.
That'd be great.
Yes.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
But anyways, you're a GitHub star.
Yes, I am. And because of that, I don't even know what I was talking about.
We're talking about the free Codex access.
So I've been using the Copilot stuff. You can have access to agents, or not agents. You can have access to any of the models with, like, I could have Claude, Sonnet, whatever, via Copilot, not via a Claude subscription.
And you could use Copilot CLI instead of Claude Code, right?
But I could also, in open code or anywhere else, I'm signing in with Copilot and then having access to the models. But my understanding of that is that the context windows are all shrunk on that via Copilot.
Okay.
So that's what I'm curious about with Codex. If you're signing in with Codex, is it the same experience? Is it the
Walmart version?
Is it the whole hog?
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah, I guess to get the skeptics' take here, like I'm looking at their blog post on Agent HQ, they're calling it, and there is a box for third-party agents. So it would seem that if the you have like direct third-party integration, third-party access, you would get the full version of Claude or whatever else. It kind of, I mean, I don't know the details, but it would seem like you would need a subscription for each of those to kind of like set them up maybe. But I don't know, skeptics take, like, this is, it's cool. I think, honestly, one of the things that burned me out about AI was I was trying to build an agent dashboard.
Yes, I feel that.
And, like, I was coding it up, but I kept running into so many issues. And to have a nice, polished product and that uses your same subscription and supports all the stuff you like, it's decent. I want to see it. I want to try it out. But it looks cool.
Yeah, you know, for me, too, you end up using this stuff and you go so far in one direction of like, okay, now I'm managing context. I'm a context engineer. Okay, now I've hit these issues with agents. I need to be more deterministic. I'm getting into more deterministic workflows and tying in MCP servers with code rather than just like constantly LLM stuff. And you just end up going further and further down this road just to get something that plays nice a little bit. And one thing that I found to be absolutely fascinating with any of this stuff is when CJ released his AI coding rant, the comments, you can tell where people are in that exact same journey based on the comment they leave. Because it's like, I almost want to be like,
just wait
like a couple weeks until you hit this specific issue, which you will, and then you're going to do this to solve it, and then you're going to go down this path, and then you're going to go down this path. And it's almost like pulling that one more prompt lever just in a different way of being like, okay, maybe this next one is going to actually solve all the issues here. But no, these tools are neat. And you know what? As somebody who did like to use the Copilot, assigning it to Copilot, especially for shit I didn't want to do, like CI stuff. Oh, I want to set up a change sets and like release workflow with change logs. And I got better stuff to do in my time than just do that. So like telling Copilot, hey, just go knock that out for me, and having it do that was really nice. But then there's other times when I would say, hey, fix this bug, and it takes a long time. The feedback loop is really long.
That's the biggest one for me, is like the feedback loop
is really long.
And then you need to I need to hop it out of the agent into your editor.
If it fails, you're just like, well, I suppose I'm just going to close this issue and then just do it myself now. Yeah. So that's something I'm really curious about, because it was an impressive demo to be like, all right, let's hop into our editor now. Because again, like sometimes you just want the AI to get started. Yeah. Sometimes you just want it to do something and fix a bug or whatever, and then move. I can do it, and that's really hard with the previous current flow.
And if you want to see all of the errors in your application, you'll want to check out Sentry at sentry.io/syntax. You don't want a production application out there that, well, you have no visibility into in case something is blowing up and you might not even know it. So head on over to sentry.io/syntax. Again, we've been using this tool for a long time and it totally rules. All right.
I think that nobody has figured out the workflow to that yet.
Yeah.
And like, that's what a lot of people are thinking. This is the new workflow. Like, will this be the workflow of like you kick it off, and like there's also like you can have multiple custom agents, like one that's really good at like Kubernetes, one that's really good at test-driven development.
That to me has been effective. I do have agents. I have a Svelte Pro agent, and that's good for Svelte specifically because of the API changes. So having an agent that says validate specifically with Svelte MCP, use this specific instructions or use this, that has been way more effective than just YOLOing
Yeah.
prompts.
Well, like, do you have a custom agent instead of an MCP server?
I have a custom
that the
agent that
move?
uses the MCP server to do various things. But the agent codes, and then it validates the code with the MCP server, or it looks up docs. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like specific instructions for how to use the MCP server that doesn't bloat the context because that one agent has it?
When to use the MCP server, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And that agent is good at doing certain types of work.
Yeah, specifically Svelte UI work. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense because, like, especially if you're in like an app that has like back end and front end and TDD.
Yeah.
And those might need to be different.
And then you move it out of custom instructions because then I can tell it these are the maybe not like these are the general things that I'm using, but these are the syntaxes that I would prefer to have, or the do not ever write my CSS. And if you do, and like just delete yourself from my computer.
Yeah.
You are not good at this.
What else we got here? Plan mode. This is something that Kiro launched. When did you do your video on Kiro?
No, plan mode is more like
Claude
plan mode is more like Claude plan mode, less than Kiro.
So it's not specs, it's just plans?
Okay, it's not spec-driven development.
Okay.
Yes, because when I saw that, the first thing I thought of, and I was going to tweet, this Kiro.
Yeah.
But it's not, because they actually did add like to-dos in VS Code. But I found that, no offense to the VS Code team, because I know that was like a much wanted feature, I have found that those to be largely just decoration and kind of useless. Where in Kiro, it's more like, here's the specs, here's the steps, let's dial in on this one thing, and we can tackle this as a thing. But this plan mode that they announced is not that. This plan mode is definitely like a going back and forth with the agent before you begin any work.
Okay.
In which can be, in my mind, the most effective way to work, because you can get a lot of these issues worked out ahead of time that it might just start going off on the wrong path.
Like what kinds of stuff? Like tech choices or what?
Yeah, for instance, when I was working on an analytics thing for us, and I have all this CSV data, and it was like, for me, that's like an interesting way to work with AI, because I personally like taking in CSV data. Like I can give it the CSV data structure and say, just build me like a parse and a database that fits into this structure, and we can, scoop this all up with pop a parse or whatever that CSV is. And I want to use temporal for this. And it came back and said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use this temporal polyfill. And that's, I know the temporal polyfills, there's multiple.
Yeah.
Like that's the wrong one. So I can go back and forth and be like, you're using the old.
Okay.
You're using the old polyfill.
Yeah, rather than like doing it
after it's already
after
implemented.
the fact and trying to have to rip it out and,
Right.
and use like an old version, or like
Yes.
old version of Zod. Like, what are the other ones that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Tailwind 3, it always uses
For
instead
me,
of
it's
4.
using NPM instead of PNPM.
Yeah.
So, like,
bro, you know what I'm using.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
do you see an NPM lock
Come
file
on
in here?
now.
You can see the PNPM lock. You can see it.
Yeah, but I got to the point where I wasn't coding anything without a plan. Even if if I was
same.
using VS Code that didn't have plan mode, I would prompt it to create plan.md.
Yes.
So now that it's integrated, that's pretty sweet. But they are like really late to the game.
Really late
like
to the
very late
game,
because Cursor's had it, and then Claude obviously first. And then Cursor added it. They added their to-dos, not the greatest. I've had issues with to-dos inside of Cursor. Like, it forgets that the to-dos are even
Cursor
there.
has to-dos too?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like Kiro's the only one who's figured out to-dos, but it's like a whole ass thing that you're agreeing to. It's not just to-dos. It's the whole spec-driven effort. And that's that's a different box that you're opening. But you are right. Everybody else and their grandmother had plan mode before this.
Yeah.
But that said, I do use it. It's one of the things I use constantly in Claude Code. So yeah.
Here's a question. Cursor rolled this out a couple months ago. Now they have is being able to fire off an agent from Slack.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Is that useful?
Not for me. I don't give a shit about that.
Like-
That to me is like the lowest totem pole for me. I
It
don't
was
care.
just like, or you're talking back and forth in Slack about a feature, and then you at Copilot and say, go build this thing.
I think that is useful to some people, and I think it's very useful to some people. But for me personally, I'm never even gonna.
It seems like if you're gonna fix something or do some sort of feature, there should be a little barrier of at least
See,
clicking a button.
For me, it's like, yeah. If I'm gonna do that type of flow,
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a GitHub issue. Okay, that's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Or even like a linear task, even though we don't use linear. But I would go to something like that long before I would ever go to Slack, which,
Right.
yeah.
I completely agree. I think so you go where the work is happening. So in GitHub
Yeah.
or in your planning tool or Kanban board. Because I mean, like Slack, sure, it would have the context of the conversation, but that likely needs to be a little bit more formalized before you send an agent off to start working on it. So I don't know. It's not useful for me.
Yeah.
Maybe, like, I can imagine, like, if something were to roll in one of your Slacks, you're monitoring something.
Yeah.
And it comes in.
Yeah.
And it's auto.
I just don't use Slack like that. I
No, me
use
neither.
GitHub for a lot of that. And Sentry. I use Sentry at Sentry.io. I see
Coupon
there-
code Tasty Treat for 2 months for free.
Yes, yeah, that comes in, and seriously, I mean, it does though, and I get my errors in there, and I click
Your logs?
I get my logs, I click the little buttons, and it tells
Yeah.
me how to fix my problems, and I do, and that to me seems more like what I would use that for, like where the issue is happening, where the code is.
Here's another feature I'm curious what, and I think a lot of people are going to hate, is they have a Copilot Metrics Dashboard for. So if you have an organization, and say you have 1,000 developers, there's now a dashboard to see who's using it, and or not, maybe who's using it, or like how many
how
people
they're
are
using it. Yeah.
Wow.
And like I have heard from so many people in the last 3 months of like, I have a manager that is so heavy-handed AI.
Yeah.
I say like, you should not be writing a line of code like
Yeah.
that far
Wow.
pilled. And now they got
Isn't it
tools
weird how it's always
to
managers who
track.
are pushing that? Like,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
And as much as we love this stuff, I don't think that's the move. But I think people are curious to see like, oh, we're spending all of this money on a subscription. That's more of like a corporate enterprise feature. They want to be able to manage their spend and see how much people are using it.
yeah. I think it's
Is it going to
interesting to
snitch
have.
on people not using it though?
I think it is. I'm looking at the screenshot
Yeah.
here. It's got agent adoption. So the screenshot says 2,400 of 3,000 active users. And so I've talked to people where like part of their development plan and part of their promotion plan is how much AI are you using?
Man.
Like they have a quota for like they have to be using like 90% of their code pushed with AI or like it. So yes, they're definitely going to use it to call people out.
CJ, I'm getting a little concerned. I've noticed that your AI usage is hovering around 5%
Yeah.
for this month.
Are you all right?
I'm going to write an agent to pretend to use all
Well,
of my
you need
AI.
like it's like a mouse jiggler for using AI.
And I have built multiple mouse jigglers like work.js. Fire it off, it just spins the mouse, and then so
That is very funny. Yeah, you could just have a trash repo that is just constantly pushing.
spinning. Yeah,
CJ, your AI score has improved by 95%
Yeah, wow,
this
Yeah.
good
quarter.
job.
yeah, I'm loving it. I'm just so much
Oh,
AI. AI is so
interesting.
great.
You
Yeah.
could build like an MCP that just like retypes all of the code that you did by hand.
Yeah.
This is like a constant feedback loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, that's gonna be a thing in no time.
We-
Jiggler JS or something.
Yeah, like a
Yes.
paid service to keep your AI usage up for sure.
Syntax, we patent that. That's ours.
Yeah,
Don't touch it.
Don't take it.
Yeah.
Don't take it.
You know, another thing they announced was Effortless MCP integration. This is actually something that had been inside of VS Code already. So
Yeah.
this is a VS Code feature, being able to install MCP servers from the extensions market.
It's cool. One of the issues I also had with trying to work with AI is finding decent MCP servers, and
Yeah.
all the directory websites. So many times the MCP servers listed were just like spam.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if this is like officially sanctioned, or you can see the number of downloads. They also potentially, like with VS Code extensions, there's like a publisher name.
Yeah.
So you could be more sure that the MCP server you're installing is more legit. I like that.
I think it has to happen that somebody needs to be able to, like, as much as we hate like a governing hand, is that like if one of these MCP servers goes rogue, that somebody needs to be able to pull the plug on it. And like Chrome does that for extensions.
Right.
VS Code does a good job of that with their VS Code extensions. In fact, I met a guy at the meetup yesterday who forked my Cobalt 2 theme and he called it Cobalt 3. And he said
pretty sick.
he's like, I got like 3 million downloads. Like, it got really popular. And then he got an email the other day, like they pulled it
Oh.
because they said it was too close to my theme. And I didn't
Wow.
complain or anything like that.
Bro, you got forked and they pulled it?
And it's so funny because I was like, yeah, I kind of was cheesed when I see like people would like fork it and make Cobalt 2 better.
Yeah.
Because you don't need to fork a theme to change it. You put your own personal changes on top of it. But then I realized like it's called Cobalt 2 because I forked
Cobalt 1.
Yeah.
The original.
So I can't get mad. Yeah,
Of
the
course
original
not.
one. So
No. Yeah.
that's allowed. So I think that is fine. Hopefully they add integrations for more stuff. Right now it's just VS Code, but like I want to be able to click it and it's install in like Claude Chat or obviously Cursor, but I don't know if they'll ever.
Yeah, you know what?
Just to
MCP
make up.
servers were one of those things that I felt like a little bit of, okay, now I got to install it these ways or do all of this stuff. And for some, you just get used to it and then it's fine. So I don't know. I used to want a UI for this and now I maybe don't care as much. I would love if they were to add my CSS MCP to this because that's something.
No, I think discoverability is a big problem.
Oh, it's a discoverability. Yeah, absolutely. I'm talking more about like the install management process. The Sentry MCP server in here, top tier MCP server right there. Yeah. Sentry mentioned on stage a couple of times. That was pretty sick.
Yeah, the Sentry stuff was up right front with all of it, which was really cool to see.
Yeah. It's so funny working for a company now and being like, feeling like pride in that. Man, yeah.
That's my boy!
It's like,
Hell yeah!
yeah. Like 3 years ago, I would have been like, oh, okay, cool.
That's my seer
Yeah.
fixing the bugs.
Yeah. So all in all, announcements, I feel like these are all good things. They're all.
Yeah.
I didn't feel personally like blown away by anything, but
No,
I do appreciate everything they added. I would say that.
I think we're past the place in AI now where there's like this like jaw-dropping model or this amazing tool that does that, and it's all just about like how do we fit this into our workflow?
Yeah.
How is it getting faster?
Ease the pain.
Is the DX is really good? And then of course like all the enterprise tools of like I have 5,000 developers. How do we roll this out to so that everyone can use it efficiently?
How do we make sure that they're using AI as much as we would like them to?
Exactly.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, so a lot of interesting stuff, but I think we kind of hinted at it. It's honestly just, it feels boring. It feels like it's nothing new. It's stuff that other people have already done, not that innovative. So AI skeptic take, it's fine. It's getting better. And if you're already using VS Code, great, because you have a lot more features now that we have in all these other tools. But otherwise, yeah, it's fine. That's the AI skeptic take. It's fine.
And now it's time for the AI skeptic round.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm pretty excited about it because like
Okay.
like as much as I love and like I'll say this as like a primarily Cursor user in the last probably 8 months, the software dev still happens on GitHub, and I'm cheering for GitHub because I want like GitHub is an awesome place, and
because you want Satya on the podcast.
I guess I will kiss no asses except for Satya to come on the podcast. But the fact that the software dev happens on GitHub, and these tools are going to need to be integrated into GitHub at some point, and the fact that this is happening and we're working on workflows, I think is overall good. So stoked about it.
So, yeah, I would say my thoughts are somewhat similar to both of yours, even though your thoughts were opposing. I do feel like...
Right in the middle.
Yeah.
He's playing both sides. The Sunny meme right now.
I know, exactly. No, but I agree with you, Wes, and like GitHub is where the stuff happens, and GitHub is still just always innovating, right? GitHub could have easily become Bitbucket and just like... been someplace you stash your code, and GitHub has never been that. They've always been pushing it. Bitbucket, I wonder if they've even added labels yet. Do you remember? There was like a thing, there was like an issue on Bitbucket for like 10 years. Like, can you add labels? Like, like it could have easily turned into something like that.
Yeah.
But instead, they've always been bringing new stuff. And so for me, I like you, Wes. I am rooting for it because I have such a fondness for GitHub overall and GitHub proper. I think the stuff that they are adding are things that needed to be here. There was nothing in this announcement that shot my socks across the room, but in the same regard, I'm going to use all this stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy. Simultaneously, nothing crazy. Happy that it's here.
I hope that like what GitHub did for software development over the last 15 years
Yeah.
is also what they do for AI development.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
good.
know if that is true now that they're a mega corporation owned by Microsoft, but I hope.
Yeah, and it's like
They're
an
trying.
institution, and they've done
Yeah.
so much good stuff. And man, I love the improvements that GitHub brings all the time. So.
Yeah, and they just hired Jared Palmer, who
Oh.
we've had him on the podcast in the past. He was the guy who created Formic, and then he created Turbo
Repo.
and then he created V0 at Vercel, if you heard of it. And then he recently just joined Microsoft, and he's just been on Twitter being like, hey, what can we fix about GitHub? 'Cause people have been
Yes.
like whining about laggy diffs and like performance issues on GitHub and all of these things. And it's gotten even worse, as I'm sure a lot of their eng has been pulled off to work on AI stuff. And he's like, he seems to be fixing a lot of it, and he gives a shit about performance, obviously.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No.
see that.
I love it when a talented hire gets brought in anywhere. Yeah.
Shake it up.
Yeah. What's the ETA between when you think GitHub's going to add the "What will you build today" search box on there?
When will GitHub.com be a vibe coding
Platform.
input tool?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What will you build today?
No, I'm stoked to give a lot of this stuff a try. So shout out to GitHub team for constantly shipping and yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks, everybody who came out to the meetup. Peace.